Hey everyone, it's Jen from FiberMeThis. I am here to talk about the Sinatra Shawl and give you some tips as well as a little bit of a tutorial on how to do these lifted increases that go up along the center column. And I'll also do a demonstration of these knot stitches. So this is a shawl that has increases that go along the bottom edge as well as up the center, and that gives us the triangle shape. It has some cables, it has some knot stitches, and it has this really pretty little cabled eyelet, or it's a faux cable eyelet that goes up the center. Okay, so I have a swatch here that I am going to work along so I can demonstrate the different stitches. But I want to show you, try and get a good picture here, of these little lifted increases. And you can see these little dashes that come out of both sides of the center column here. And that is a double lifted increase. Okay, so let me just move this. And we're going to go along one row. I'm going to talk about the make one increases on the sides. I'm going to do a cable without a cable needle. I'm going to do a knot stitch, and then we're going to get to the center and do the lifted increases. So let me pan in here really close. So one tip that I have for a make one right and a make one left, what you're going to do on either side is as part of the edging, is to remember this little rhyme that my friend Cookie taught me, and that is, I left through the front door and came right back. So if you picture in your head, or you actually get up and do it, it will help you remember it forever. I left through the front door, so walk out the front door, and I came right back. And so what that means is when you are going to do a left make one increase, the left goes through the front. I left through the front door. The right make one increase is lifted from the back. So I came right back. And it really will help you remember which way to lift when you're doing a make one increase. So on the right side of our shawl, our make one rights, we want it to lean to the right. The first two stitches are just knits. So I left through the front door, we're not doing a left, but I came right back. So right goes through the back, or lifts from the back, and then we knit that through the front. Okay. We'll knit a few stitches here. All right, so let's do the right leaning cable. And because there are, these are small thin cables, it is really helpful for them to be pretty snug. And I find the best way to make a cable snug is to switch the stitches on the needle and then knit them. So to do a right leaning increase, our first two stitches are going to go to the back, and then the next two are going to come to the front. So all I'm going to do is stick my needle in stitch 3 and 4, slide them all off, and then take my left needle and pick up the 2 stitches to wrap to the back and just twist them, and then place the needles on your right hand back on the left hand needle. So basically now our cable is all done, and we just need to knit those 4 stitches. And that's it, and that gives us a nice snug cable. Okay, let's do a few more stitches, and then I'll show you a knot stitch. The knot stitches are done on the front side of your work and on the back side of your work. So right here we have knot stitches that are done on the front, but in these two bars above and below them, those knot stitches are done on the reverse side. So you'll be doing several of these knot stitches, and they're super easy. We are going to purl 3 together. So I pick up 3 stitches there. My little yarn is in the way here. And I am going to purl those together, but I am going to leave them on the needle. So I'm purling them, but I leave those stitches on the needle. I'm going to yarn over from front to back, and then I am going to purl them once again. So these 3 stitches have now been replaced by these 3 stitches, and we just take those 3 that were on the left and slide them off. So that is your knot stitch. Let's do one more. Try and get really close. So I have my yarn in front. I am picking up those 3 stitches. Let me just tighten up my tension. I'm going to purl those, but leave them on the needle. Yarn over and purl them again. Got a little bit snug because I'm trying to look in the camera as I'm doing this. Another tip I have, I also put this in the pattern, is the row before you do a knot stitch. You want to make sure that that row is not super loose, but that it's also not very tight, because it'll make it more difficult to do the knot stitches. So let's work our way to the center column, and you will have your center column. Let me back up 1 stitch here. You will have your center column marked off with stitch markers, and the center column consists of 2 purls on either side of the 3 stitches in the middle. Okay, so I am 2 stitches from the center column. I'm going to knit those 2 stitches, and we are going to do a double left lifted increase. And this, on the other side, you do a double right lifted increase, and they are different. Okay, so we've completed those 2 stitches. We want to tip our work forward, and you're going to pick up the purl bumps on the back side. And we don't want to pick them up from the stitches we just knit. We want to go right underneath those stitches. And you're gonna, from underneath, pick up the first purl bump and pick up the second purl bump. And you're gonna lift those to the left. So there they are, right there. And then you're going to knit them through the back loop. You can see how they're oriented here, where they want to be knit through the back loop. And that's it. That's your left lifted increase. I just split my yarn. Hang on, let's redo that last stitch. Okay, so that's our left lifted increase. Okay, and in the pattern, I have a whole page and photos as well on the lifted increases. So now we are to the center column, which always is 2 purl stitches, and then there's a 4-row repeat for the little eyelet going up the center. On this particular row, we are doing the little cross, so let me just put that back. So I am going to slip the first stitch, knit the next 2, and then pass that slip stitch over. And that's how we get our little faux cable. There's a cat jumping around in the background. Okay, and then we purl 2 stitches. And now we are to our right lifted increase. Now in this situation, what's different is we haven't knit these stitches yet, whereas over on the other side, we had already knit those. So we went to those second purl bumps. In this case, you're going to lean your work forward And you are going to pick up those purl bumps that are right below the needle. So we're not going to go to the second ones. We're going to pick up the first ones because those 2 stitches that are on our left-hand needle have not been knit yet. Okay, so we're going to lift those and place them on the left-hand needle. Now, be very careful with that second stitch. Sometimes it wants to pop over its buddy right there next to them. And we're going to knit those as normal. Just knit those through the front loop. And again, right here, those 2 get really snug close together. Just make sure you're knitting that lifted stitch first. And then we just continue on. Knitting. And you can see our 2 little lifts there. So that is our lifted left. On the right side, you're lifting left. And then on the right or on the left side, you're lifting right. Okay, as long as we're on the other side here, I'm just gonna do a left leaning cable real quick, and we're gonna do it very similar as we did on the other side, except for this time we want our first 2 stitches to cross in front to the left. So we'll just lean our work forward, pick up stitch 3 and 4 with our right needle, slide all the stitches off, and you kind of want to pinch them as you slide them off, and then take your left hand needle and pick up what was stitch 1 and 2. Put the stitches from our right needle back to our left. Our cable is all done, and then we just need to knit those 4 stitches. And then we have our left leaning cable on the left side of our work. So that's going to be it for hints and tips and a little bit of a tutorial for the Sinatra shawl. I've had a couple people, concerned that it might look difficult, but it really isn't. You just have these 4 stitch cables, the knot stitches, your lifted increases, and you're really doing the same thing over and over again. So I hope you give it a try. Good luck. If you need any further assistance, you can reach out to me at FiberMeThis@gmail.com. And I would love to see your finished shawl if you want to share it with me on Instagram at fiber.me.this. Thank you.